Hello.
And we are live. Welcome, mystery and thriller fans. We are back after a 2 week hiatus, and our reads are more red hot than ever. I am so excited to kick off tonight with Dr. Kwei Quartey here to give us the inside scoop on his brand new book out now, The Whitewashed Tombs. Kwei, tell us about this book.
Well, thank you for having me, Sarah. I'm very excited. This is a great new platform for me, so I'm thrilled.
Yay.
And this is number four in the Emma Djan series. And in this, well, just to give a real quick background, Emma Djan is a millennial, progressive young woman in Ghana who joins a private detective agency. And this is her fourth murder case. And in this case, it's a very special and personal one to me because the background is the threatened parliamentary bill in Ghana that targets LGBTQ plus people with jail time just for being gay, or if you promote anything that has anything to do with same sex relations, you can go to jail for 10 years. So it's against this background that one of the great LGBTQ activists in Accra gets murdered one night after he responds to a grinder request, which of course was a setup. And then it just goes on from there. And Emma enters a world which she's not familiar with, but she's very open to learn about.
Mm. Well, I am so excited to talk about this book with you, Cray, because I love a mystery with real life meat, with
Yeah,
real issues,
yeah,
wrestling with real things that
yeah.
are in our world. I love a good whodunit. We're all here for that. But I like when we're dealing with real issues and I'm learning and I'm thinking and I'm being fed on these other levels as well. So I am so excited to talk with
Yeah.
you about this book, number four in the Emma series. And I want to talk to you about Emma, and I want to talk to you about Manu, and I want to talk about you with all these characters. But first, I just want to welcome everyone who is joining us live. So we are broadcasting live to 8 different destinations across Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. So, mystery and thriller loving friends, no matter where you're watching from, you're in the right place. This is the right time. It is Mystery Monday. And because Mondays can be murder, we're going to make them a little less painful, get your week off to a great start. So, if you've been here before, you know the drill. And if you're new, welcome, friends. We're so happy to have you. Here's the drill. Every Monday, I give you my handpicked featured authors. Today, Dr. Kwei Quartey, and you can ask them anything. So ask Kwei about his real life work as he went to medical school. He's a doctor. He's a thriller author. Ask him about his book, his writing process, anything you want. Just get those questions going in the comments. We're going to jump right in. Sharon is joining us from Massachusetts on YouTube. Hi, Sharon. Welcome to the conversation. She says, howdy.
Howdy, Sharon.
Howdy. Now, Sharon has a question. She wants to know, Kwei, can this book be read as a standalone because it is Emma number 4? Tell us about that.
Yes, it can be read as a standalone, but I do recommend that you start with the first one, which is called The Missing American. And the reason I say that is that you'll be able to see Emma's evolution over time, because the really assertive and, might I say, badass woman that she is right now is not the one she started as. She started very diffident and sort of shy and retiring and, deferential, especially to, her male, bosses and so on. But she has really evolved over the course of these 4 books. So although it certainly can, I would recommend starting with the first one. And even if you do read this one first, you'll want to go back to the first, because you want to see how she developed into the full blown, super uber detective that she is now.
Ooh, thank you for that great question, Sharon. And Quay, thank you for that answer. John is joining us from Northeast Ohio via Facebook. Hi, John.
Hi,
Welcome
John.
back. Good to have you here. Now, I have a follow-up question to Sharon's question because
Yeah.
Quay, as a writer, you have to meet new readers who are joining
Yeah.
you on Emma book number 4 and
Right.
who can just jump right in. But
Yeah.
those, the OGs, the original fans who have
Right.
been with you since book 1, you've got to keep developing Emma as a character, giving them new, but
Yeah.
having people jump in. How do you do that from a character creation perspective?
Well, the first thing is to the author, or me in particular, I have to grow with my character. So, the things that I would see her doing, like 4 years ago with The Missing American, I wouldn't see her doing now. So she sort of grows organically as I grow with her. Now, I do throw in some curveballs, just to liven it up a little bit. Like, for example, this is the first time we had a little bit of problems between her and her boyfriend Courage. Things went a little awry there, but it's usually something quite organic, and I think I can see her getting into a little bit more trouble in the fifth novel. So it sort of comes organically. You know what I mean?
I think I do. I think I do. Now, Kwei, how many books do you think are we talking Case Garbetta, book 36 for Patricia Cornwell? I think we've got
Oh,
36
if
Case Garbettas,
only,
or
if only.
what are you thinking?
Patricia Cornwell has been long been one of my sort of idols, and I put her up on this pedestal that I hope I will someday reach. But I mean, she's just a fantastic author. So, I mean, as many as I can pack in, you know what I mean? It's like I may not be as prolific as some others, but I will try. I will
Well,
do my best.
Kwei, you have to go back and watch the interview when Patricia Cornwell came on the show,
Ooh,
and she told us some of the badass things she's done. Like for her latest books, she learned to fly a helicopter,
yeah.
and she would fly a helicopter to NASA and land her helicopter at NASA, and then she would climb up these 7-story buildings on the outside from a ladder, conquering her fear of heights to get into this NASA machine. I was getting dizzy just thinking about it.
About the best I can do with that is that I visited an offshore oil rig to, investigate one of my
Ooh.
other novels. But I don't know about that climbing of whatever she did. That woman is just incredible. She really is.
So, Quay, tell us about the craziest thing you've done or seen as part of your research for any of your books.
Yeah, I think the oil rig incident visit was probably the greatest. That was for my other series, the Darko Dawson series, where an offshore rig, somebody, a couple is found murdered in a canoe that's floating around an offshore rig, something like 40 miles offshore from the Ghana coast, and
Ooh.
it's called Murder at Cape Three Points. And I think that's so flying the helicopter, going on the helicopter trip across from the shore to the oil rig was really quite an experience. It really was.
Oh my gosh. So I watched an oil rig movie. Oh my god, I'm blanking on the name of it. The one where there's a fire and it's a true
Oh yeah,
story.
yes, yes,
Uh,
yes, yes.
so I've never been on an oil rig. What was that like? Was it scary to be out there, in the middle
The
of the sea on
just
this little
yes, the
thing? Yeah.
hardware and just the massiveness of everything is something that you cannot even conceive of in your brain. It's just overwhelming. I was overwhelmed by just the awesomeness of all that, machinery, and it was really something. It was really amazing.
Oh my gosh. Sharon saying body farms with Kay Scarpetta. Yeah. Oh my God. The body farms. She's
Yeah,
crazy. And I love her books. Well said, Sharon. She is crazy. And we
yeah.
love her books. And I have a feeling y'all are going to love Quay's book. I want to talk about some of the amazing press that your book has gotten. Let's kick off with this review from the Dallas Voice. And I'm going to pop it up here so that we can all read it together. The Dallas Voice says the book reflects the dark reality of an anti-gay bill threatening Ghana's LGBTQ population. Quartey asserts the book as a rebellion against the hostility at work and a call for inclusivity with a belief in the power of love and humanity. I love that
I haven't even
review.
seen that review.
Kwei, you got to keep up with your own press. You got to keep up with your own press. I'll leave it up here so you can read it. It's a beautiful review from the Dallas Voice, and the reason I want to talk about this is because my allyship is very important to me, and I always try to walk the path of being a good ally and standing with my beloved LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
And as I was reading the preface, the author's note in your book, you were talking about the fact that this is a real bill that was being considered in Ghana as you were writing this book.
Yeah.
So Kwei, tell us about that, and tell us about your writing process. You were seeing the bill, and then you thought, I want to bring Emma into this. I want to say something about this. I want to tell us about that.
Yeah, it's a really interesting story. And you know what's really funny is that I didn't expect the bill is actually it's kind of in limbo between they having like similar problems that we have. The executive branch and the judiciary branch are sort of battling over this. And so it's kind of in limbo between the two. And I thought by now that the whole thing, by pub time, which was September 3rd, that everything would have been resolved by now and the bill would have been passed. But no, it's still unpassed because they can't get their act together. In a way, that's good. But what really happened was that in Last Scene in La Paz, which was the third Emma Djan, I introduced very slightly a character, one of the detectives in the detective agencies, whose name is Jojo. He's gay, and I kind of Jojo. It's such a cute name, and he's a cute guy too. And I hinted that that he was gay. And my editors at Soho, Rachel Cole, she's so brilliant. She said to me, "Well, Kwei, I noticed that little thread of the gay guy in the agency. Would you be interested in picking that up and running with that with them?" And I said, "You know what? That's not a bad idea." And Sarah, just as luck would have it, and this happens often, I happened to read about a proposed bill in Ghana's parliament, and I grew up in Ghana, so I have that allegiance, that proposed that people who were gay would be put in prison, number one, for just being gay for 5 years, or if you did any sort of, in quotes, promotion of LGBTQ or same-sex relations. And I said, wow, what the hell's going on? And then I started reading up on it. Following in the footsteps of several other African countries, about 32 of them, like Uganda, Ghana is attempting to bring to life a law that would in fact outlaw being gay or trans. And so this is when I started building up the story. And because what I always do in my stories is to take as a background, a social issue, a social ill in Ghana, just like the oil mining or gold mining, and I use that as the backdrop for a murder mystery. But it's not just a backdrop, it's tangled up with that issue. So it's an integral part of the murder mystery itself. And like you said something about learning about stuff. Yeah, you will learn a lot of stuff about, how Parliament works in Ghana, but it's not going to feel like a lesson that you're going to sit, and nodding away at. It's going to be just all mixed up in there.
Right, exactly, because Emma we're seeing, is our heroine and solving a crime, and there's all the things that we love about any mystery, but also we're being enriched, which is especially great. I have a friend from Ghana, and I came to love shea butter through
shea butter, the most wonderful,
the best. You can really get just that glow. I love shea butter, so I was so excited to read a book set in Ghana. I want to talk about Emma a little more, but first I also want to share this rave review from Michael Nava,
Hmm.
author of the Henry Rios mysteries. I'm going to pop this one up so we can all read it together as well, because Michael had some wonderful things to say as well.
Yeah, Michael's great.
Yay. So here we have I'm just getting to it. Michael says the whitewashed tomb succeeds on many levels. First, as an expertly plotted mystery. I want to get back to that because I want to hear about your process, Kwei. Then as a window into Ghanaian culture, but most crucially as the story of the human rights tragedy currently unfolding in Africa, where draconian laws, some carrying the death penalty, threaten the very existence of LGBTQ communities. Though never didactic, Quartey's novel nonetheless records the horrifying consequences suffered by ordinary people targeted by ignorance and bigotry.
Hmm.
So I want to pause there because I loved Michael's review, but I want to talk. Are you a plotter or did you successfully fool Michael?
I am a plotter,
Okay.
as against the so-called pantser, which is by the
Yes,
seat of your pants.
indeed.
And although I may have started out a bit of a plotter, what happened was, in the course of my writing books, my editors have asked me to provide a synopsis so they know
Okay.
basically where they are, where my head is in terms
Hmm.
of moving forward. And so it kind of became a habit of mine to make a synopsis and thereby provide a kind of a roadmap for myself. But
Uh-huh.
just like any roadmap, you can take detours and get to the same place, the same destination, even if you wander off the path. And that is what happens in murder mysteries. You think you're going somewhere, and then suddenly, there's a traffic jam, and then you take the off ramp, and then you go somewhere else. So that's the way that my process works. And so, although the final product will resemble a synopsis somewhat, there are a lot more different facets that have been developed along the way.
So, without any spoilers, can you give us an example of a plan you had for Emma and Emma took you off the off ramp and you had to completely redo it?
Well, I'll tell you, maybe not in this book, but in number
Okay.
two, Sleep Well,
Uh-huh.
My Lady, I I had three I got I had three different murderers at the end before I realized that this is not going to work. So I did one, and my editor said, I did the second one. She said, I don't know, Quay, it just doesn't feel right. And then for the third time, I suddenly realized, one of those slap your forehead. It's like, I just missed my own clue. I set my own clue and I just totally missed it. And I suddenly realized that's who the murderer is. It was as plain as day to me.
Oh my
And
God.
yes. And so it was not so much that I went off the path, it was that Emma sort of backed me up. It's like,
She backed
she
she
backed me up. It's like, go back way. You gotta do this over again.
she
Yeah,
backed you up. I
that's
love
right. Because I discovered that I had missed something that I had set my own self, and that made me go on a different path to get to the end. And when I did, it was very, very satisfying.
Ooh, interesting. Okay, I love this. Robin, welcome to the conversation, says, yes, wandering off the path is fabulous. Ooh,
Oh
I
yeah. Oh,
I
absolutely.
agree.
That's what makes travel interesting, right? You think you're going, like you're in a different country, for example, and you think you're going somewhere, and you suddenly see a road that, and I do this all the time. It's like, where does that go? And sometimes it gets you in trouble. I remember once I got lost when I was in Denmark. I got lost in Hamlet's castle because I decided I saw a room that looked interesting, and I wandered off in there, and apparently was a do not enter area, and I got lost.
Oh my God.
Yep. So
Kwei.
that's,
Cut to
yeah,
you being arrested in Hamlet's castle. Oh my God, I love it.
what a story, right?
Sharon wants to know, how did you come up with the title? And I'm guessing that it starts with that quote, that Bible quote that you start with, right here in page
Yep.
one. Kwei, tell us the story of that. Sharon, great
Yes,
question.
this is from Matthew 27, 27, right? 27. The Pharisees challenged Jesus. They were trying to get him to admit something about the creation story, and so that they could trap him, in misquoting something. And he ticked them off, and he just like scolded them. He said, "Look at you, Pharisees. You are like whitewashed tombs, beautiful on the outside, but full of rot and all kinds of dead stuff on the inside." And he was, of course, referring to their gross hypocrisy, which he could see through from a mile away. And this theme of hypocrisy runs through the entire book, about the things that people say with this holier than thou attitude, while they themselves they even more than epitomize the so-called evil that they are criticizing. So that's how that comes about.
Indeed. I just want to read it to you, Sharon. It's hypocrites. You are like whitewashed tombs. They look beautiful on the outside, but inside they are full of dead bones and all kinds of filth. And as soon as I read that, I thought, because I wanted to know when I first saw the title, I wanted to know too, Sharon. And then I got to that quote and I thought, ooh, I am here for this story.
Yeah.
And I think that hypocrisy is the thing. If I had to say something that enrages me the most, it would be hypocrisy. It would be those who say one thing whilst doing the other, and that just gets my blood boiling. And I think we're seeing a lot of it right about now.
Absolutely. It's despicable. It's really despicable.
Robin is saying she is laughing out loud at the moment when you said, I missed my own clue. The signs were there all along, pointing to the murder. So then if you missed your own clue, the murderer wasn't who you thought it would be, even though you're
exactly. That's exactly correct. The murderer was not who I thought it would be.
Was the
murderer and I'm the writer
in this one?
Yes, that I knew from the very, very start. The very start.
Exactly. Robin says that she says, I can think of a few people who fit that description. You and me both, Robin. I'm making a mental list right now. She says, I hope I'm not missing myself in the description. I don't think you are, Robin. You are very, very real, very authentic, because the people who are never ask themselves that question.
No, exactly. They never question themselves.
Right. Exactly. So first clue named this book of the week. Congratulations on that. They had some wonderful words of praise too. Let's take a peek at what they had to say about your book, Kwei. They call this a piercingly written tale of modern life in Ghana. The murder mystery is compelling here, but readers will also be absorbed by the politics and religious machinations and emotional brutality the mixing of the two creates. Congratulations on that. A rave review, and on being First Clue's book of the week, Kwei. You guys, the book is out now, and you can order from our favorite woman-owned independent bookstore. That is, of course, Murder by the Book. So whether you're watching with us on Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram, we're live on 8 places on 3 different platforms. Here is that link to order your copy of the Whitewashed Tombs. Kwei, I wanted to talk to you, Dr. Quartey. So you moved, you're in LA, you went to medical school, you're a doctor, and then you thought to yourself, I like murder and mayhem more than medical mysteries. Walk us through that, how you went from Dr. Quartey to mystery writer Dr. Quartey.
Well, it starts a lot earlier than you might think, because when I was a kid of 7 or 8 years old, that's when I actually started writing. And believe it or not, I liked mysteries way back then. And so I used to like pen my own little novellas and staple them with, book covers that I drew myself. But then after that, I started getting an intense interest in medicine. and that was like through my teen years, and I got into medical school in Ghana at the age of 18, but that was a really bad period of political turmoil at the time. And my mom, who was American, decided she wanted to come back home to New York because my father had died a year before that. So after about 6 months of searching and searching, I managed to get into Howard University College of Medicine, and that's where I got my MD. And it was after I got that, and I was working in a private practice, that those stirrings of, wanting to write again started floating back, and that's when I started. I should say, engaged in my, course of writing again. And for a long time, I practiced medicine as at the same time as writing, but I'm now fully retired from medicine since 2018, and I write full time now.
I love that. I love that. But we're going to say Dr. Quartey is in the house because that
Yes.
sounds cool for us. So we're very excited about that. Kwei, I also did want to talk about the fact that Publishers Weekly awarded you a starred review. Congratulations on that star, sir. And let's take a peek at that. Oh, Robin saying, I'm so happy to meet you, Kwei, on Sarah's wonderful events. She spoils us with wonderful new to me authors that are just magical. Oh, Robin, you're making my night. Thank you,
Yeah.
ma'am.
No, and I appreciate that too, because a lot of times it's just the big names that you always hear about, and nobody hears about us little guys.
Well, you're a big name to us, Kwei Quartey, and we're very happy to hear you. And I love what Robin said, because when I started this now 4.5 years ago, and my mavens, you guys are with me every week for
Yeah.
4.5 years now.
Yeah.
And my goal is to connect y'all with your favorite writers and introduce you to your next favorite writers. And here he is. Okay, let's take a peek at this starred review from Publishers Weekly. I'm going to pop it up so that we can once again read it all together. They say Quartey's fourth mystery featuring PI Emma Djan is the best yet. Interweaving an agonizing portrait of an anti-LGBTQ prejudice in Ghana with top-notch whodunit, Quartey never puts a foot wrong, keeping the plot twists coming fast and furious without sacrificing the story's heart. Readers will be wowed. Talk about a rave review. I would get that tattooed on my forehead. So good, Kwei. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Again.
Yeah, that was a nice
coveted
review.
star.
Very
Yay.
nice. Yeah.
And they weren't the only ones raving. Library Journal, also a rave review. I'm putting that in the comments as well, so everybody can read it at their leisure. And Kirkus, Sharon saying, what a great review, right, Sharon? So good. The notoriously grumpy, or I think the New York Times said curmudgeonly Kirkus, also bringing a rave home for Dr. Quartey. And I'm going to pop that in there as well. So Library Journal saying an impassioned plea for advocacy and LGBTQIA rights, specifically the current political climate of Ghana. And then, of course, Kirkus saying that Quartey's most personal crime novel asks Emma Djan and her colleagues at the SOWA detective agency to figure out who's running through across LGBTQ plus community, silencing its loudest voices. Quartey managed to produce a culprit who will surprise most readers. Murder is only the tip of a ferociously toxic iceberg. I love that. Only the tip.
That last one. That's a nice. I might actually even borrow it.
Oh my God.
That last phrase. That's pretty good.
That would be so cool. Yeah. Murder. Ooh, that could be your tagline of your next book. Murder is only the tip of a ferociously toxic iceberg. Yeah. You all saw it here. You remember, you saw it on Mystery and Thriller Ravens, everybody.
And you're right. Kirkus is a little curmudgeonly. Grumpy is another word, but they've been nice to me. I have to admit. They
have been nice to me as well. I'm very lucky. But the New York Times called them reliably curmudgeonly. So I'm not saying that. The New York Times said that. But yes, I think that if we see the phrase murder is only the tip of a ferociously toxic iceberg, we'll know where it came. We all witnessed that magic. You
Yeah.
guys, the book is out now. Dr. Kwei Quartey's The Whitewashed Tombs. Whether you're watching with us on Facebook or YouTube, here is that link again to order for my favorite woman-owned independent bookstore, Murder by the Book. And the good folks at the bookstore will ship that out to you tomorrow. As always, if you DM me your receipt, I will get you a signed book plate from the author himself. So
Nice.
here is that link.
Nice.
We are out of time. Time flies when you're having this much fun. Kwei, any parting words or anything you haven't shared that you'd like to? We always make everyone spill at least one secret. Got it? You got any secrets you want to share?
Well, I will let you know that I really love Emma Jan. She's kind of like my sister in a way. I feel so
Oh,
positively about her, and I actually like her a little bit more than I like Darko. But don't tell him I said
oh, wait, I thought you were saying I like her a little more than my sister.
that. That would have been actually a better line. But I don't have a sister, so fortunately, I get out of that.
Oh my, I was terrified for you for a minute there. I was like, oh my God.
No.
Holidays are going to be awkward for you this year.
Yes,
Wait,
Thanksgiving will be
I'm
awkward.
so sorry. Amanda did submit it. I forgot about that. Amanda submitted a question in advance, and she did want to ask about you, a male writer writing a female character. What was that like for you?
Oh, I really enjoy it. I feel a little bit more comfortable with Emma more so than Darko, and I think it's just because males tend to be a little competitive with each other. So I always feel like Darko is looking over my shoulder and being a little bit critical. But Emma is just very very cool. She's got a lot of finesse, and I just like the way she solves her mysteries.
I love that. Okay, and your secret is safe with us. We will not reveal that you like Emma Best.
It
Dr. Quay Corte, thank you so much for joining us here on Mystery and Thriller Ravens. Y'all, the
was a
book
great
is
pleasure. Thank you.
out now. Grab your copy and let us know what you think over in Mystery and Thriller Mavens Facebook group where all the good tea is spilled. Quay, thank you so much for coming on, and be sure to hit us up next time when your next book is out. We would
Oh,
absolutely love
absolutely.
to have you back.
Absolutely. My
All right, y'all,
pleasure.
go get
Thank
a
you.
drink, get a snack. I'll be back at the top of the hour with Jesse Q Sutanto joining us live from Indonesia. Stay tuned.
Okie dokie.